I like to give myself a golden star once in a while. Doesn't do anything, but for days where I work particularly hard, or that have long-term merit in some way, I like to look back at them from my bed and think, yeah, that counted as a golden star day. They're not frequent, I'd say maybe once every few months. They require endless work, from the moment I get up until the moment I go to bed. And this Wednesday was one such day for me. I couldn't sleep, so was up at 5 in the morning, working on a Total War video. I played half a campaign and got about 5 minutes of footage done. A day's worth of work in itself. But then I got distracted by the VAC wave that had banned over 10,000 players from CSGO that day. Being the bad person that I am, I looked over at the forums for posts from people claiming that they had been unfairly banned and stuff. One caught my eye. He had provided screenshot proof that he hadn't played much recently. From these screenshots, I downloaded his recent matches and watched through them, because it would have been awesome if he had been doing something blatant in them. I realised at this point that there would be video potential from this, but he didn't do anything blatant. I disliked the way that he played, never being caught out, always knowing where to look and when to retreat, even when there were 4 enemies left scattered across the map and so on. It's at this point that I changed what I was going to do. Instead of basing it around a real person, especially one I don't have any concrete proof of hacking, why not do it about a fictional suspect? I got to work doing Overwatch cases. I was 2 games short of the 150 win Overwatch requirement on another account, so just casually slipped in 2 matchmaking games, which luckily both turned out to be wins. At the time, I wondered if this was a worthwhile time investment, but it really was. For what followed were 4 hours of solid Overwatch cases, me signing out of one account and into the other the moment each case ended. I lost count of the number that I did. It was a lot. I had dozens of clips by the end of it, and these were only from the blatant cases. Before the last Spinbotter case, I had plenty of time to think about important stuff. And plenty of useless things too. Like, how many people are watching this same case as me right now? And how stupid I was for not having stock footage of Spinbotters saved, just in case I ever found myself in this exact situation. And eventually I got desperate and wondered what I'd do if I never saw a Spinbot case ever again. Would I just keep doing these cases until I died of exhaustion? Luckily, I eventually found one and could end the Overwatch marathon. And then, just to finish off the day, I typed up a 2,000 word script for 3kliksphilip for the video that I made just after the 2kliksphilip one. That's how confident I was about the video being a good idea, and even had plans for this one that you're watching right now. That was it for the Wednesday. I went to bed and gave myself a well-deserved golden star. It's funny, a few days before this, E2 messaged me on Twitter asking why I didn't make any more gaming videos, but he answers his own question. Why doesn't 2kliksphilip make more CSGO content? Well, firstly, because 3kliksphilip does it full-time anyway, and secondly, because, like E2 says, it's not that easy to make interesting content from pub matches. It's true, 2kliksphilip has made very few videos based around CSGO's gameplay in the last 2 years, probably 4 or 5 tops. I'm happy to put a spin on it, like using Cobble to demonstrate YouTube encoding, or parodying custom gloves, or talking about how fit the terrorists are, but I seldom go out of my way to get gameplay and to make a video about it. When I do, it can't be generic gameplay. It needs to serve 2 purposes, and in the case of The Suspect's Tale, these clips also tell a part of a bigger story. And even then, the magic doesn't happen until the very end. The first version of these videos is always bad. Embarrassingly so. It's only through repeated edits and the feeling that there's a good video in there somewhere that it's eventually polished into content that I can be proud of. Editing is magic. I dread to think how many videos have been cancelled or released early to poor reception because the maker didn't spend enough time in the editing stage. Rewatching and re-editing is the only way to get the timings, the jokes, the music and the theme feeling right, rather than forced. Making a video about any sort of live gameplay is like driving blindly through thick fog. You only know it's been a success when you make it, and there's no telling how long that will be. Which is funny, because this kind of content is always the stuff I'm happiest with, and end up rewatching the most. But I think I've gotten used to this process now, since even when it was nothing but an idea about the suspect cheating in matchmaking, and about half an hour of Overwatch clips, I knew it was going to be a good video, even though I had absolutely no idea about what the video was going to be like. I think at this stage I was imagining CSGO's main theme to a montage of cheating clips, ending abruptly with a VAC ban and an angry post on the forums. In a way, that's what it was. But it's the small changes to this idea that made the video special. In a way, Thursday also deserved a golden star, since that was the day I actually edited and released the 2 and 3kliksphilip videos that had been started the day before. The Suspect video only took 3 hours to edit. That's very good for a 3-minute long video of this nature. It helped that I sketched out a rough storyline in Excel, of his journey with the cheats as the suspect gets increasingly reckless and cocky before the inevitable ban. This helped me to order the Overwatch clips, so all I had to do then was to cut the start and the end of these clips off a bit and to apply some fancy transitions. The Office clip at the beginning was pretty spontaneous. I loaded up CSGO, thought, what's the map that noobs like to play the most? And went from there, shooting a bot in a position and with a weapon that campers and hostage maps can relate to, that also allows for a lovely long flyby. Oh, that flyby. I was sat in the editor with a 30-second long sequence, wondering what the hell to do with it. When editing family footage, it's rare that I keep the same clip on the screen for longer than 4 or 5 seconds. With particularly special footage, perhaps 8 to 12 seconds? But not frequently, and certainly no longer than this. If you're skipping through a day out, then you've kept too much in. I apply the same rules to my YouTube videos, especially when video-led rather than narrated. So to start a video with a 30-second flyby, especially when accompanied by nothing more than music, is a big no. Remember, many of the viewers will know nothing about me, or what sort of video this is going to be. It's not exactly typical CSGO gameplay, is it? So I don't know why I wanted a 30-second flyby intro so much. I guess it's to intentionally put this video at a disadvantage, because then it sets it up for a bigger payoff later on when people realise that it's not a bad video. Sort of being like, so different to normal stuff that it automatically gets some credit for being original. It's hard to explain, but I think it worked, despite being a stupid idea. It probably helped that it cut off before it became obvious that it was zooming straight for its crotch. At this point, I decided that I didn't want any narration in this video at all, since my silent videos are my favourite ones. I enjoy telling a story without opening my mouth. So instead, I quickly googled the noobiest CSGO complaints I could imagine, and luckily found a relevant forum post for each. I screenshot these, photoshopped the suspect's name and icon into it, and placed them over the beginning flyby. The rest of the video was just a matter of editing the cheating clips together. I initially had his thoughts shown on screen, but it worked a lot better as a Google search. And even better as a Bing one. I initially had searches in Yahoo, Ask Jeeves and other stuff, but then I needed to re-record them and did them all in Bing to make my life easier. Something I now regret, because there have been way too many comments asking why I'm using Bing. Maybe if I had shown Yahoo and AOL as well, then the joke would have been more apparent. I guess I didn't understand how enjoyable these clips would be when accompanied with clicky keys, from my analog routing one, no less, and when littered with spelling mistakes. If I had to remake these scenes now, I'd have the spelling becoming progressively worse as his cheating became more extreme. It's just one of those little nitpicks that I've got with hindsight, though it still turned out better than I could have expected, so I can't be too mad. It took so long, 4 hours, before I encountered a spin bot in Overwatch that I had excess footage of the other cheat types, and most ended up being unused. I only required a few short clips of each type of cheat to tell the suspect's story. More would have made the video drag and would probably have lost its impact. However, it did come in handy for my follow-up 3ClicksPhilip video, though sadly I didn't even record the less obvious cases, which would have really helped to demonstrate some examples in that second video. I guess at the time I was focusing on the 2ClicksPhilip video, and thought not recording everything would make editing the video easier, which it certainly did, but although it would have been horrible having to scan through 4 hours of footage for a particular clip, it's still better than not having a clip that you need. Lesson learned. Oh, and here's something dang. I typed up that complaint at the end on Steam's CSGO forum, then accidentally submitted it. What followed were several minutes of panic as I frantically searched for where it had been posted to. It's not my intention to troll the CSGO forums or anything like that. By the time I found it, somebody had already called me out for it. Not sure what happened, to be honest. It's like something on my screen gets selected that shouldn't be. It happened a few days ago on Twitter when I accidentally posted a tweet that said 3ClicksPhilip. I've got to be more careful. Also, to clarify a few points, I've seen a few people asking if I got an account banned for this. No. All are from Overwatch cases, and all screenshots are photoshopped. In Paint, at that. So, to close this video up, 2ClicksPhilip's not known for being punctual, but he's stuck with a weekly Wednesday release for a while now. That is, until this week. But I can forgive him for that. The suspect's tale needed a bit of extra time to get it right. Seeing how it turned out, I almost made it a spin-off of Going Low in CSGO, a series I know hasn't had a new episode for over 2 years. I still have ideas for another proper episode of that, but the more time that goes by, the less important I think it is that I make it. I found other ways of making gameplay videos that work. If I've traded the Going Low series for one-off CSGO videos like this one, that aren't bound by the same constraints and expectations the Going Low series was getting increasingly burdened by, then I'm happy with that.